Hello everybody and a warm welcome back to Formula Fun Sim Racing. After two exciting rounds at Brazil and Las Vegas, we are here for round 23 of this 24 round championship at the Qatar Grand Prix. It was Fly Scott, the man we are on board, who won it last year. Who is it going to be this year? We will get our answers shortly for sure. It's time for us to enjoy the Qatar Grand Prix. Just let me get you a round for the Drivers' Championship. 496 for our championship winner and our leader, Zen Zoku. 496 points for them. Scrubbins in P2. Far away from Fly Scott in P3, who's got 303 points, and Scrubbins got 382. In fourth place, High B with 246 points to his name, followed by an AI, the smallest gap in this championship, 12 points, with the AI having 234 points behind. Footy, 119 points, then Spliff with 96 points, and the final driver in the Drivers' Championship. He's not here tonight as well as Spliff, unable to attend. High B is the one, along with Fly Scott, who is on a flying lap. So eventually it is going to be these two drivers, and they're actually closer to each other. They're actually closer to one another out on track out there as it stands so far. So look at this. Now Fly Scott be the very first one to start a flying lap, followed by High B in P2. How good is he going to be able to do? He won here around here last year. Can he do it again? He definitely has got the opportunity. He's got all in his in front of him and everything he can and he has to do. But all he has to do is beat the challenge of Scrubbins and Zenzoku, with Zen clearing the championship and Scrubbins, who has been very strong the last couple of races. So let's see. How good will he be able to do, and how good of a lap will his one be? We're about to find out. We're coming around the final corner now. Makes his way nice and easy, smooth as it gets. ERS all to use, and over the finish line it is going to be 124.9 from him. What about High B? 126.5. So a very good lap time from Fly Scott. Sorry, from 124.951. But only until Scrubbins comes over the line. And how much is he going to be beating it by? And beats it by a mile. 123.676. A big margin between the two. And we've got our big fish, the champion, our champion of the season, Zen, yet to come over the line, yet to complete his lap so far. He has been challenged by Scrubbins in the last couple of races. Can he take pole position around here? He's got the opportunity, he's got the chance, he's got the final corner to go to make it all count, to make it all around. It is where ran white. He's ran white there in the exit. I wonder if that was a bug, or surely he did ran white, but that doesn't matter at all. He's going to take pole position. He's going to do it by even better times from Scrubbins. And 123.447. It's going to be the time for him to take pole position. Everybody else to beat around 50 is going to be the only car without a time on board so far. The end of that first sector. How much is that going to be? 32.3. We'll find out how good that is only when Zen goes over it, and we'll get to know how much he's down on his previous 2 seconds. So Footy's 32 in that first sector might not be very good at all. So already, in fact, no, Fly Scott is not in the pits. I would have thought he's into the pits, but he's not yet at the moment. He's right out on track. So drivers, obviously, with the qualifying being, I remember, if I'm not mistaken, about 11 minutes. So 9 minutes in the end will remain. Sorry, not 9 minutes. If 11 minutes, that's going to be about 7 minutes. Okay, I might be getting my calculations Let's a bit wrong here. Meanwhile, Fly Scott finds a 10th at the end of this first sector. But how much of a lap can he find overall this full distance? Meanwhile, Footy doesn't get a lap in because he's invalidated it. Zen is going to be going for it one more time after doing a prep lap, a preparation lap. that is going to be coming to an end for him. And now another flying lap and a very fast lap. We haven't seen anybody return to the pits, so that definitely indicates the qualifying will not be obviously full 18 minutes, which you never really have. This would be about 11 minutes, I believe, or 9 minutes if I'm mistaken. But there we go. Now there comes IB around the final corner. Is he going to be going an improvement? Does he find enough time to get her better than Fly Scott, or any better than even his own time previously? Yes, he does get a better time, but not enough to get an ahead of Fly Scott, or over the finish line for Fly Scott. That is going to be a decent time, 124.7 for 124.704, but still not enough to get closer to Scrubbins or to Zen. Both are actually over a second ahead of Fly Scott. Scrubbins now coming around the final corner. He will not be improving, obviously. A preparation lap that we would have been talking about. Zen would be looking after improvements, though. What about Footy? He's invalidated again. The nature of the Qatar GP, a very hard circuit in terms of trying to keep it on track. It's not hard braking zones. It's not there's walls around, but it's just it's very fast. It's a rapid circuit, and sometimes you do find it difficult to keep it within the white lines and over the finish line. He doesn't, or if he does get the lap, that was the wrong overlay time that we got, and that's going to be getting even better. 123.287, and surely a comeback from our world champion would be on the way after losing out on victories in the last couple of races. He's going to try and get back. He's going to try and get back to the top of the table. Meanwhile, High B is going to continue on, go for another lap over the finish line. Does find another 6 tenths, almost 5.9 tenths, but still not enough to get closer to Fly Scott, who seems to really be the third best this year so far. Meanwhile, High B is retired, and that indicates the end of the qualifying session and the final lap from these drivers. We'll only know about that if Fly Scott does retire. But something of an indication we do get. What about Scrubbins? So he's looking for an improvement. He's looking for better times, and he does get a better time, and that's gonna be even better. 122.804, and Scrubbins goes on to provisional pole. What a lap time that is, coming to the end of qualifying session. What about Footy, who hasn't got a time on board, is looking for anything on the board to just get himself, push himself, not even further, but just to have a time on board. And now everybody from the top drivers has retired, but apart from one man, Footy's now retired as well, and so has Zen. That's then going to be the end of qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be Scrubbins who takes pole position and rocks on top of the timings, ahead of everyone by almost 5 tenths in the end, finding a very fast final lap of this qualifying session in the end. Qatar GP usually a very hard circuit on the tires, but only 14 laps to worry about for these drivers. They shouldn't take more than one stop for them to have a smooth and easy race. And now we're ready to go racing with Fly Scott, with Scrubbins on pole, 10 on the front row, and Fly Scott to MP3. It's going to be 5 lights out, and we go racing into the Qatar Grand Prix. It's going to be a decent start from Scrubbins, but a very good start from Zen as well. Is High B going to be following them? Yes! Fly Scott's had a horrendous starter into turn 1. They're going to be around the outside. The top two almost collide at the front of the field. They nearly make contact, but just avoid as the cars are legging for somewhat reason. As at the back, there's going to be Fly Scott, who's trundling down to the back of the field, and definitely something has happened to him, and he's had a horrendous start at all. He's not had a good start at all, and definitely that is going to be problems for Fly Scott at the moment. Meanwhile, Footy is gaining places into P8 now at the front, back to the front. It is going to be Scrubbins who's kept up his lead, starting on the medium compound tire, along with Zen Zoku. Both the top two have started on the medium, so a possible medium soft strategy to have the softer compound and softer advantage for the later half and the later part of this Grand Prix. Meanwhile, High B, who is at the front, and with these guys at the top, there's going to be an opportunity, definite opportunity for him to fight against these guys if he's able to capitalize enough on those medium compound tires, on the soft compound tires. Which he has against these guys. Meanwhile, Flyscott has caught up back to the cars in front of him, back to the cars that he needs to catch up to. So I'm absolutely sure that he will be looking up for a move. The DRS getting enabled. He's not going to be getting that there, but it's going to, for a moment, you'd think he's going to move to the inside, move to the inside lines, and be going for that move. Maybe not earlier, but he's going to be doing that just right now. Heading towards turn one on the inside line. He's going to be late on the brakes. Nearly goes into the car ahead, but he's going to be making that overtake, and it is going to be done at least into P6, and he is going to be through into P5. Another position and another move done for Flyscott back to the top 5.
How are these bots so fast? I had a shit start off the line, too much wheel spin.
And something has happened there, as I thought that was High B, but that was not actually High B. That was should have been one of the AI cars, then losing out positions as Flyscott gets back to the top 4. Meanwhile, Fitty is making some nice and easy progress. Meanwhile, Flyscott now 3.8 behind High B, who's 1.7 seconds behind Zen, who's only 1 second behind Scrubbins. Meanwhile, Scrubbins at the top has got the fastest lap of the Grand Prix just about right now. Definitely, you have to say, these last few races, and even at the start of the season or the middle part of the season, Scrubbins was doing decent. He was a very good qualifier, and he was a decent pace overall in races as well, but just unfortunate for his mistakes, and the amount of mistakes he was making just denied him a couple of victories throughout the season. So I think definitely now moving forward into next season, into next year, it's definitely going to be an opportunity for him to fight Zen without a doubt. I think into next year, especially into next season, we will, I shall say, there'll be an opportunity for Scrubbins, and it will be an equal fight in my opinion, as long as Scrubbins doesn't bottle it just under pressure. So 3 laps in, lap 3 out of 14. We should be getting to the end of this one and into lap 4. So 1 second still the gap between these two. Not a lot. Not any drivers within 1 second of each other at all. So Zen just about gets that gap within 1 second now. Does he get the DRS? No, he doesn't. So he was more than 1 second at the end of the detection zone. And already, this time around, in fact, Zen gets the fastest lap. Fastest of these two, as 8/10's the gap between the two, and I think one mistake, one slight error from Scrubbins, it's going to be a opportunity, it's going to be a chance for Zen to get through, and that will be a big blow to Scrubbins if he does make mistakes here and there. Obviously, this nature of the Qatar GP is not always, in terms of, it's not a very hard, it's not like a circuit that's going to be very harsh on you, but definitely it's very easy to make mistakes. Like, it's a circuit, you don't have to worry about closed walls, you don't have to worry about heavy braking zone, rather you have to worry about where you have to push and where you have to brake, because it's a kind of a circuit layout. Now let's go on board with Scrubbins. He's in the free air, so we'll see him pass through the couple of corners. He's going to be going, look at this, I like this one, he's in P7 right around there, sorry, in 7th gear. It's going to be 7th gear there as well. He takes it all flat out, all of them flat out, but now he has to brake. In fact, he doesn't brake here as well, but just slightly slows down. And let's have a look at this one, final corner. This also looks similar to all the ones that we've pretty much had before, but this time around he had to slow down, he had to slam the brakes, and had to, at least downshift a couple of gears. So it's like, as he gets the fastest lap of the race once again. Let's have a look at it one more time. Now towards turn 1, he's going to get to 4th gear, back to 5th, 6th, and he's going to go back to 4th, in fact, not 6th this time around. So possibly the first sector, especially the middle sector as well. The final sector is rather what drivers would take flat out, but especially this sector. Oh, he's go wide. He goes very wide, and that might allow Scrubbers N to come back at him. 1.4 seconds the gap was for a moment. It's going to be 1.2 seconds now, and has he made a big mistake there? Because slightly the gap has definitely came down rather rapidly. The way it had increased after the fastest lap from Scrubbins, but he's came back. Definitely that has to be a bit of an issue out there for Scrubbins, as we were just on board with him. He slightly runs wide and loses a bit of time on Zen. He's got the speed enough. As it looks like he's got enough speed. He's going to be recovering that back in no time. But if he makes another one, that's going to be cherry on top for Zen, and he'll just not wait for any moments to take to take the lead. He won't wait for anything, rather grab the moment with both hands. A 14-lap race. You're expecting at least 8 laps on these sets of medium compound tyres. Meanwhile, the soft tire runners are continuing straight up as well. High B with another new livery, which he changes. You've seen him run with different liveries throughout the season. In P3 for him, Flyscott running in P4, obviously after his mistake, just unable to recover. At one point, the gap was 2.8 seconds to him, but that he's lost out that time for sure. I mean, Alfiti is your first driver into the pits. He's on the medium compound tire. Even still, with that, he's coming into a set to pit and get onto a set of hard tires, I assume. And yes, he will go on to a set of hard, and he doesn't get the front wing change, so that's interesting. A different strategy, possibly an undercut attempt on at least a couple of those AI cars that he's gonna be racing at the moment, but it's interesting. And now moving forward, are we going to be looking at any battle between these AI cars? It's going to be Nguri and Gemon. Okay, and Gemon guy, so that's nice. Gemon and Ngurist are fighting each other, the two AIs at the back of the grid. Meanwhile, another group of AI cars between Brexy and Knightley are fighting each other for 4th, 5th, and 6th place as it stands in this race. Meanwhile, Flyscott in P4, 2.9 seconds to High B. He's gained a bit of time that we were talking about, so he slightly made that progress with High B now straight into the pits on a set of soft compound tires, and so is Flyscott immediately responding to the undercut attempt by Footy. I don't think they're going to be even in a bit of a fight, but still, all that does come into play, and definitely those soft tires were going to be out of grip by now. That is for sure a question that we know an answer to. Obviously, 7 laps into this race. Rather 6 laps in on the tire, and 7th lap they were in, and did Zen made a mistake there. 1.3 seconds. Does the gap increase? Because there was a lockup. There was a bit of a lockup from Zen out there, so you would have hoped, not hoped, but rather would have assumed that he might have made a mistake. 1.3 seconds, and brilliantly, I mean, Scrubbins is holding it here. Looking at this, fastest lap is eventually going to be going to Scrubbins at the moment. 25.250, 25.616 from Zen. So definitely the fastest lap is to Scrubbins at the moment. He's continuing it on, and he's kept up the gap. You know, maybe some parts of the track Zen is catching up. Some parts, even if he's within 1 second, Scrubbins just does enough to keep it within 1 second, and have more than 1 second. Meanwhile, he jumps into the pit lane, and Zen continues on to the straight and to take the lead of the Grand Prix, and he'll be a new race leader, ladies and gentlemen, of the Qatar GP. But Scrubbins has went for the undercut attempt already, and now the soft tires will be out on his car. Will be on his car. All 4 wheels will be changed, and now the question will be, where does he end up? Where does he end up eventually exit? In fact, he's obviously going to be exiting out in free air and ahead of everyone, rather, in P2. But where does where does Zen end up? That's going to be a question. Meanwhile, Flyscott is going to be moving forward as well, instead of medium tires out there. But Zen is just making his way in the middle sector at the moment, and now out on a set of soft compound tires. Scrubbins is going to be making sure he gets the fastest lap. He gets a very good race and obviously a very good outlap overall as well, so that at least allows him to get an undercut attempt on Zen that he has attempted to get. It also depends, does Zen pit right now, or does he pit after a couple of laps? Does he stay out for a moment to two and then only pit? But I doubt he will stay out. He will not stay out exactly, and he will come into the pits. And now it'll be a question we'll need an answer to at the moment. Scrubbins is in the final sector, and he's making his way around the last couple of corners, as Zen is going to be on to his grid, to his pit box, and the tires are on, and he is out of the box. No, in fact, what is going on? Okay, right, he did come out of the box already, but there was a bug that did not leave his car. It's going to be interesting to see. Is it going to be Zen back out on track, or is it going to be Scrubbins, and Scrubbins going to be through, and the undercut has worked out, and he is through once more. Exactly the gap between the two was, rather, he's gained up time. The gap, which was over 1, which was just about 1 second, is now over 2.9 seconds between the two, and 3 seconds. That has absolutely worked like a charm in Scrubbins' favour, and he now leads the Qatar GP by a big margin, and a long margin that he's done throughout the race. Probably the biggest margin that he's led the race so far throughout this one, throughout the 9 laps that we've had. This is the biggest lead margin that he's at, 3.4 seconds as it turns to 3.3 and 3.4 now. It'll be interesting to see whether Zen is able to do any recovery, whether he is able to get back and rather, get back to the to that time, at least if he's able to make that recovery of time. But in the end, it also comes down whether does he have enough laps? Do they have enough laps? Considering now it'll be in the end of lap 9, and Scrubbins going towards lap 10 at the end of this one. So a question will definitely be asked about, are 5 laps enough? Are 5 laps going to be enough for Zen to really catch up to Scrubbins, unless and until obviously he makes a big mistake, or a mistake that allows Zen to get through. At the moment the way Scrubbins is driving, I don't think he's catchable. He's absolutely driving beautifully, and for him, for his own sake, his race sake, he'd rather just want to just cruise the way he's cruising and rather go to the end of this one. Meanwhile, High B in P3, 14.2 seconds behind, but at least 2.4 ahead of Fly Scott, who's been also trying to catch up to High B, but just not unable to get closer at all. We've seen him be in that 2 seconds gap, under 3 seconds, but unable to get under 2 seconds or 1 second, or even at 2 seconds out at the front. So at the back, maybe some AI cars battles once again for T now. 9 tenths ahead of the next car, and 2.1 behind the one ahead of him. So he's just in there, just scraping in for a couple of points, as it looks, and he's just simply trying to take it nice and easy out there. And let's look at this. Obviously, both the drivers, the backlight is flashing, which usually means they are recharging, and indeed they are recharging. At least Scrubbins is. So is Zen. Both of them having got the battery. Both of them have got about 30% for Scrubbins, and so is for Zen. They've almost got similar amounts of battery remaining at this point. And also Zen, look at this. He's alright. So some part of the track is harvesting, some part of the track is using. But I mean, sure, there aren't many laps, but let's just say if there were just 7 or 8 more laps, rather, if this was a 26 lap instead of a 14 lap race, possibly the best option for Zen would have been just charge up his battery. Obviously, then it might have not been a 1-stop race, rather a 2-stop one, but the best one would have been rather charge up his battery the best and then attack again. But Also, not to forget that Scrubbins is doing that, and obviously in a race like this, 14 lap race, which we already are on lap 11. It's only the leaders to really lose at this point, to be fair. 4.4 seconds, and this has to be a biggest lead margins we've seen in a while between the two, especially while Scrubbins leading. Obviously, he has won a couple of races, but Zen has been within closer ranges of him. But tonight seems to be the night. He's announcing himself, and definitely a glimpse of what we should expect into the next season, and before that, into the final race and the final round in Abu Dhabi. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen, we are back into the session and racing action is on once more. But look at that, the gap that we left at over 4 seconds is now only 1.2 seconds. And now that might have just happened in the time that we were not here. And a huge mistake from Scrubbins could have only let this happen because the way he was driving, the fastest laps that he was getting. Sure, Zen's got speed, but I doubt that he would have been able to just gain that much time within 2 laps. So definitely a magic that either Zen has done or somewhat of a mistake that Scrubbins did make in the end. And unfortunately for him, that ended up affecting his race. Hasn't affected just yet though. Still 1 second. Still, he's got it though. One final lap now. The final lap of the Grand Prix, so an opportunity, another chance for him within 8 seconds, within 8 tenths between the two now. Well, slight bit more mistake from Scrubbins could well be an opportunity for Zen to go through. Remember, this has happened previously throughout the season. Scrubbins leading, but around the final few laps, he's made a couple of mistakes that has allowed the driver in P2 to get through and snatch up a victory. Are we about to witness that? Are we going to witness the masterclass of Zen, recovery of Zen out there, with away from the leader for the most part of the race, trying to coming back at him on the final one? Or is it going to be Scrubbins, who's made a few mistakes? He's made a couple of mistakes, but just does enough to hold on to it and keep his lead so far and take the victory. Meanwhile, Footy is spun round and facing the wrong way at the main straight. The gap is 8 tenths between the two still. Coming around the final corner, it is going to be Scrubbins who's going to win the Qatar Grand Prix and takes victory.
Let's go!
With Zen in P2, nearly we would have thought that we were coming in for a little bit of a battle, but he does beat Zen, and job well done to Scrubbins. Gets back to the top, and that'll be many, many wins for him this season, especially the last few races. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will be the final spot on the podium, taken by Fly Scott, and he gets on the podium as well with High B in the end. Oh, that's an interesting fact as well that we might have not noticed this time around. Earlier on, it was High B who was in P3, so he's completely lost out the podium, and Fly Scott's got it. That was absolutely something that we forgot about while having our focus in the top two. Fly Scott snatched up the podium that he wasn't near after the pit stops.
Oh no, bottled it.
What an end to this Qatar GP. That, ladies and gentlemen, once more at the top of the table, it is Scrubbins who wins the Qatar GP, gets the fastest lap as well after starting on pole positions, and in P2 in the end by just 8 tenths, but still Scrubbins who came on top. Fly Scott in P3 in the end. We were seen earlier on High B staying ahead of Fly Scott, but in the end he was just caught up, and Fly Scott was the one who came up victorious in that battle. High B in P4 with a couple of AI drivers, with Footy and another Solomon down, the AI driver out of this. So that'll be it then, ladies and gentlemen. It was myself, Zappy, and from all of us here at Formula Fun Sim Racing. Hope you all watching enjoyed it, and we've only got the final round to go. Up until then, have fun, enjoy, see you in Abu Dhabi.